Today I'm going to be giving an introduction to the Camera Factory plugin for AutoCAD. The Camera Factory plugin allows you to import photo scenes from the photo scene editor into AutoCAD to work with them for geometry creation. The photo scene editor is a separate application that is available for download on Labs, and it is used to create the content that we will be importing into AutoCAD. One of the first things you notice when you install the plugin is a new tab that appears on the ribbon, the Photo Modeling tab. I'll click it and open it here. First we'll go ahead and click on Open Photo Scene. I'll be using some tutorial files. These are available also on the lab site. You can also create your own using the photo scene editor. Once your scene is open, you'll see the first image in the file. We'll also go ahead and open the Photo Manager palette. The Photo Manager palette contains images, all of the images from your photo scene. Each image corresponds to an AutoCAD view which has been created, so that by clicking on the images you change your AutoCAD view to match the position of the camera when this particular image was taken. Also on the photo display panel there are some tools for setting up your viewport if you would like to use single or multiple viewports, and some controls for toggling the display of different user interface elements. You can pan and zoom in the viewport using your mouse. The middle mouse wheel will zoom in and zoom out, and holding down the middle mouse button will pan. What it's actually doing is a swivel because it's maintaining that view position, but it does allow you to get in close on a photo and select find a specific area of that photo. The workflow in AutoCAD using the plugin is fairly straightforward. You choose a viewpoint that works best for what you're trying to do. You create a UCS that maps to a particular object, and then you can trace over the photo once you have set up your UCS properly. So I'll show you two different ways to do that. In the first example, you'll see some green plus marks on the photo. As I click and look at the different images in the scene, you'll see that those plus marks are in the same place. These are 3D points that have been created in the photo scene editor, and we'll use those to set up our initial user coordinate system. I'll also show you how you can set up new 3D points using these images, using some of the tools that come with the plugin. So one thing I would recommend is that when you work and create your geometry, that you put it on a different layer. So I've set up a separate layer. It has some transparency enabled so that you can see through the geometry to the photo behind it, which is helpful when you are modeling. So the first part I'm going to model is this particular side of the house. What I'll do is find a view that lets me see both the front and the side, so that when I extrude my geometry I can do it the proper distance. So what I'll do first again is set up a UCS. I'm going to choose the UCS command, and I'll use these points that have been created to define my user coordinate system. Now you'll see that the grid has mapped along the face of the building in the image. Once I've done that, I can simply trace over the photo. So now I'll come out here and look at the front side of the house. I'll go ahead and use a polyline. And what I can do is, because the coordinate system is along the face of this building, I can just trace over the photo with the polyline tool. And let's get in a different view. So you'll notice that you can change your view while tracing. And I'll go ahead and just say here, we can go along the stairs, and I'll cheat. So by tracing using the UCS, I was able to trace this part of the building. Now I can simply go in and extrude. And again, I can extrude using the image as a visual reference. and I'll create my geometry that way. Now you'll notice as I use the photo manager to move around the building that the geometry I've created is sitting pretty much where it should. Okay. So next what we'll go ahead and do is choose a different part of the building where there aren't any 3D points set up yet. I'm going to turn off the grid really quickly so it's out of the way. We're going to redefine the user coordinate system to do this part of the house. So on this side of the house there are no 3D points defined, but that's okay. What we can go ahead and do is use this Add 3D Marker tool. One thing I forgot to point out earlier is that the photo modeling panel on the ribbon is a contextual ribbon panel. That means that no matter what tab you're on in the ribbon, the photo modeling panel will appear at the end. It has some of the primary navigation tools, letting you switch between photos, letting you zoom to fit your viewport, and some pan and zoom tools if you aren't working with a mouse. So in this case we're going to use the Add 3D Marker tool. What that allows you to do is click in to define a point in space, and you need to use to define the point in two different images. So by clicking and holding, you'll get a zoomed in view, and I'm going to go ahead and use this outline of the window again. And so I click to do it to define the point in one image, and then again I will look at it from a different viewpoint, and I'm getting my geometry that I just created in the way, so I'll switch to another image, and here I'll go and confirm the point in space, and so you'll see now we have a 3D point defined inside of AutoCAD. So I'll go ahead and repeat that command. I'm going to do that 3 times to get the 3 points I'll need to do a UCS on this wall. And repeat it one last time. Okay. Remember, each time you want to define the point in one image, change images, and then define the point again. So now we have 3 points that we have created, and we will create a UCS to match this wall. So I'm going to go ahead and define my UCS again, and we can turn our grid back on, and we'll see that again the grid is now aligned to the face of this wall. So again, we'll go in and just use a polyline, and you can go ahead, and this is where pan and zoom can come in handy. It lets you be a little more precise when you're placing your points, and you can also change images if you would prefer to use a different viewpoint of a particular feature. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this guy. And just to repeat, because we create the UCS on the plane that is aligned with the image, we can simply trace over the image with our standard AutoCAD tools and model. So before I extrude, I'm going to come around and use an image that shows the side of this building so that I can see how far back I want to make the extrusion. Oops. Okay, and I'll eyeball that about there. So there we have it. We can continue along using the same principles of defining a UCS, tracing over the image, and then extruding to start to rough out a 3D model for our building.